The Mini Rally Challenge remained on the gravel as the crews headed north to Cumbria for round 5 of the championship, the Greystoke Stages Rally, and it proved to be one of the roughest events of the season. First up, let's take a look at how the R50 category was decided. We'd lose Alex Stopps and Alan Edwards early on. Things had been going well through the opening stages, but on stage 3, the rear damper bolt broke, collapsing the rear corner of the car. Not wanting to cause any more damage, they stopped immediately, bringing their rally to an early end. They would, however, make a makeshift repair using a piece of tree branch just to get the Mini back to service without needing recovery.
Oh, bloody hell. So that was the start of stage 3. We're about, what, 500 metres in? Kilometre in? And big bang. I thought I could hear the exhaust on the floor. And what happened is the bottom of the strut snapped off from the upright. So we've now got a piece of wood, thanks to some ingenuity, acting as a coilover, and hopefully we can get out after the next stage finished. But at the moment we're not going anywhere. At least the car's off the ground. This trench is from where the bottom of the strut was in the floor, and I've just taken it off because
3/4 of a mile in.
3/4 of a mile in, yeah. So hopefully we can get back with my new wooden, nice bit of silver birch coilover, but it's going to be a limp.
Kevin and Tana Ablett were also forced to retire. They knew from the very first corner just how rough the stages were going to be. And on stage 2, the gearbox mount found out as well, breaking. The team at CS Motorsport managed to strap everything together to get them back out, but the steering never felt right afterwards, and they decided to retire after stage 3 to avoid causing any further damage. Despite that disappointment, they remain second in the championship. It would be 6th place in the R50 category for John Barker and Andrew Side, returning to the Mini Rally Challenge for the first time since the Roger Albert Clark Rally back in November. Their day got off to the worst possible start though, after pulling over on stage 1 to let a faster car through, only to end up stuck in a ditch, receiving a stage maximum. From there, it was simply a case of surviving the rough conditions for some damage limitation and make it to the finish, and with some valuable co-drivers' championship points for Andrew in the process. 5th place in the R50s would go to Spark Developments pair Catherine Bell and Stephanie Wadge. Competing at Greystoke for the first time, they found it difficult to commit fully, as there wasn't quite the level of detail they were hoping for on the maps. On stage 2, they were dragged into a ditch, picking up a stage maximum. The rest of the day was simply about getting round and getting it to the finish. And after another tough rally, they leave Cumbria leading the R50 Championship by 9 points. Andrew Massey and Cal McElhenney would finish 4th after a day full of mechanical issues. The rough stages breaking the gearbox mount on stage 2 before a plug lead came loose on stage 3. The engine and gearbox effectively being held up by ratchet straps. A further repair in service wasn't enough, and problems on stage 4 meant stopping to try and fix the issue and taking another stage maximum in the process. Despite all of this though, they battled on and made the finish. Taking 3rd place was Ruan Lowry and Ian Bass. It wasn't the most dramatic event for the pair, but another strong finish means they now sit 3rd in the R50 standings after 5 rounds. Runner-up honours would go to Ryan and John Evans, competing in only their 2nd Mini Rally Challenge event together, the rough conditions causing plenty of problems early on. A broken manifold and what they believed was a puncture on stage 2 saw them stop to inspect the damage, costing around a minute and a half. Thankfully for them, the rest of the day ran smoothly and they recovered well to finish 2nd. But taking the R50 victory this weekend in incredibly difficult conditions was Simon Austin and Russell Thompson. They kept themselves out of trouble throughout one of the roughest rallies of the season, and their reward is maximum championship points, moving them up to 4th in the standings after round 5. So at the end of the Greystoke Stages Rally, the R50 results look like this. Moving on to the R53 Supercharged category, and this one saw plenty of retirements as well in the rough conditions. Steve Burles and Rob Thompson took things steadily to begin with, knowing just how rough the stages were likely to be. Confidence was growing until stage 2, when the spare wheel actually bounced out of the back of the car over one rough section. Unfortunately, a broken exhaust manifold discovered in service would bring their rally to an end. And Nick Skelton and Stefan Arndt had an even shorter day. Just 4 miles into the opening stage, the engine cried enough, forcing the pair to become spectators for the morning before they'd really had chance to show their pace. And Tim Kieran Rogers with Mason Woodford alongside also saw his rally come to an early finish. After taking stage 1 cautiously, the pair realised that the supercharger wasn't producing full power before stage 2 brought even more problems. A broken exhaust downpipe followed by alternator failure, which also took out the power steering, meant their day was over. Jacob Neal and James Coates would retire on stage 4 after breaking the diff. Another crew finding the rough Greystoke stages just too much for their Mini. And William Lumley Holmes and David Robinson were another retirement on stage 4 after suffering brake failure in their car. It was a 5th place finish though for David Burden and Peter Williams, a solid finish seeing them leave Greystoke leading the R53 Championship by 3 points in their Spark Mini. 4th place went to Andrew Otto and Tom Hind, another consistent performance, moving them into 2nd place in the standings after 5 rounds. And Alan Kitson and Stephen Warrington would finish 3rd, taking another podium finish in the category after a strong day's work in challenging conditions. Runner-up honours went to Ben Hearsey and Victoria Swallow, although it certainly wasn't straightforward. 2 rear punctures on the opening stage costing them valuable time before another on stage 3 nearly ended their rally altogether. Without another spare wheel available, they'd have struggled to continue, and fellow competitor John Barker came to the rescue by lending them a couple of wheels, allowing the pair to continue. From there, it was simply about bringing the car home and banking important championship points, as well as showing what a great clubman spirit there is in the Mini Rally Challenge service area. But taking victory in the R53 category in his first year stepping up from the juniors was Henry Kinwill, Dilwyn John alongside. It was only Henry's 2nd ever gravel rally, but together with the experience of Dilwyn alongside, they mastered the difficult conditions perfectly to take their first Mini Rally Challenge R53 victory, surely the first of many. A fantastic result for the pair on one of the toughest events of the season. So at the end of the Greystoke Stages rally, the R53 Mini Rally Challenge results looked like this.